Hey guys, how's it going? Jason here for the love of tractors. And one of the biggest questions I get from um, you guys, from all sorts of people, is about 3D printing. Things like what materials should I use? What's it like to work with 3D printing? Do I need to do anything in particular different than, say, when I'm working with metal? And in general, how do you like 3D printing? So, um, I want to answer those questions in this video, and I've got some stuff here to sort of show you, some various material and things of that nature. So we'll do that, and we'll take a look at it, and then you guys can kind of decide. So I'll be honest, to some extent, I've soured a little bit on 3D printing, and it's not it's a great technology, and obviously I'm gonna catch some flack from this from some guys, but I don't know that it's ready for prime time just yet, and I'll show you why, and we'll talk about that a little bit here in this video. So let's talk tractors, y'all. I guess the first thing we'll talk about is how do you get a 3D print. So a lot of people ask me, should I go out and get a 3D printer? What 3D printer do I use? So I do have a 3D printer. I have a DaVinci 3D printer, and it's okay for testing products, but it's not great for finished products. Now, the exception are some wheels and tires and things of that nature. I've been able to make those work, but something like this field cultivator, not even gonna give it a shot. It wouldn't work worth a darn. Handrails and things like that, maybe, but it's tricky. Now, I have had really excellent luck with flasher bars, and let me just pull this guy back here. That rear flasher bar is all 3D printed on my home printer. Now, here's the question. Is it worth having a home printer to print flasher bars? No, of course not. And that's where services like Shapeways and 3D Hubs and quite a few other places will 3D print your parts on demand. And I just want to come out and say right here, I have no affiliation with any of those places, and I use several different ones depending on pricing and so on and so forth. But that's your best option for 3D printing. So now you have to have a 3D design. So here's the thing. I get guys, and I think to myself, wow, the the ball's on you. I get guys that are like, hey, will you give me your file for your Kraus field cultivator? No. Why would I do that? So, so I have a lot of time and, quite frankly, money invested, because time is money, invested in that 3D model. I'm not just going to give it away so that you can go print as many as you want and then sell them. That's ridiculous. So someday, if you start 3D printing too, you're gonna feel the same way. It's one of those things that blows my mind. Like, people are like, oh, would you, I mean, you don't come up to me and like, would you just give me that tractor? Because the answer is no. So why would I give you a file? Anyway, that's beside the point. It's not a big deal. But my point is, you can get a lot of hours into 3D printing something like that. Even like, so my handrail kit, you guys have seen for this versatile, there's at least a couple hours of design time just in designing that kit. And then, not to mention the time it takes to go research the tractor, take measurements and things of that nature. You know, you're going to have gas, you've got time and all that, and that's all worth something. And so, anyway, there it is. So you can't just give that away per se. So now let's talk about materials. So you're going to print in two, for the most part, two materials when you're 3D printing. Now, resin printing is getting to be a thing, and it's not something I've gotten into yet, but I've had the pleasure to see some pieces from a few guys that are doing resin printing, and they're pretty awesome. And they offer what I would call really decent paintability with maybe the same fragility that you're going to get in Frosted Ultra Detail, which is what this kit's made out of, but at not the price of the Frosted Ultra Detail. So that's something I'm going to look into pretty quick, because I like the idea of the compromises there that you get a little bit. So anyway, but for now, let's talk about the two materials we're going to use the most 3D printing, which is Frosted Ultra Detail, which is everything you see on this tractor. These rails, this ladder, the tracks are even Frosted Ultra Detail. All of this undercarriage, all of the wheels, the bogie wheels, the front weights. If we take this, the rear end, all of that is 3D printed in Frosted Ultra Detail. Now, as you can see, and I'll just zoom in here a little bit, you can get a ton of detail from Frosted Ultra Detail. And it's pretty incredible, actually. Even those underweights, those inside weights there, those are Frosted Ultra Detail put on here. So, like I said, you can do some pretty incredible stuff with Frosted Ultra Detail. Now, here's the two downsides to Frosted Ultra Detail: the price and the fragility. And what do I mean by that? So here I have a piece of Frosted Ultra Detail. This is a sprue. So this was, used to put together parts of a kit in the printing process. So we'll just give her a flex here. See, it's bending pretty good, printing pretty good. Boom, broken. And so that is fine if you're super careful, but I have put together a lot of Frosted Ultra Detail parts, and I still break them. And in fact, this kit, which came from Hector Matthews, he is so confident that your parts are going to break. He includes double the handrails and things like that. Those are the parts that are going to break. I mean, he didn't do like double the weights or double the tracks or anything like that. Those parts are substantial enough. You're not going to break them. But your things like handrails and flashers and mirrors, oh yeah, those are going to break. That's the downsides, if you will. Now, of course, the upside is that incredible detail that you can get. I mean, check out this 8345 RT. That thing looks real. I mean, it just does. That's an incredible piece. All said and done, I've got nearly $100 in the kit, another $10 in the tractor, so, and then, I don't know, let's call it 4 or 5 hours of build time, off and on. I mean, that's not, just working straight through. That's taking my time, just getting it right. And you get yourself a tractor that's just absolutely top-notch, incredible. Now, the same way with this field cultivator, this is all Frosted Ultra Detail. So, now here's the thing that I'm going to say, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here on this field cultivator. I have had nothing but trouble getting, one, wheels and tires to seat together without taking the paint off, and then two, paint seems to sort of pull off or peel off on your finger even when you think it's dry. Now, that doesn't always happen. I mean, you can see here, I can touch these tracks, I can touch this main frame, nothing's coming off of my finger, but I can grab some of this black wheel. Look at that. This was painted 3 months ago. I feel like that's a problem. But everybody tells me it's how you clean it. But I'll be honest, I'm cleaning these the way people are telling me to. This sat in Dawn dish soap and warm water for, I don't know, a day, let's call it. And then what they tell me is if it's frosted, if it turns from clear to sort of this frosted color, it's clean. That means all the wax is off and all of that. And it did, but just to be safe, I dipped them in naphtha thinner to make sure I didn't have any finger oils on it or anything. And then I primed and painted, and you can still see, that my black is coming off on my wheels and tires in spots. And so that is just enormously frustrating to me. And like I said, it doesn't always happen. I've got no problems here, none whatsoever. And this was just painted 2 days ago. Look, nothing. This was painted 3 months ago. So anyway, all right, moving on. Next material we're going to look like is, let's call it your budget alternative. This is white, strong, and flexible. Now, strong and flexible comes in a lot of colors. I generally use white or black. If I'm printing tires, I'll use black. If I'm printing anything else, I'll use white. And so, this is my new Dogtown Ag DTA 6 fertilizer spreader. So this is kind of a world premiere of that too. I got to do some decals yet, but this is printed in white, strong, and flexible. Now, why did I print this in white, strong, and flexible? Well, I'll just come right out and say it. This cost me $28.53 to print in white, strong, and flexible. In Frosted Ultra Detail, this is $53. Now, I've tried to put some nice detail in here and all that. And this is intentional. This is supposed to come off, at least for now. I'm going to add some hydraulic lines to it, so I didn't want it attached down too well. Anyway, I didn't like do super detail. Like, it obviously doesn't have all these little scallops and cutouts and bolts and all that stuff that this kit from Hector has in the Frosted Ultra Detail. But it's not a terrible kit either. It's got enough detail. I wanted this kit to be affordable for everybody. I want, if you're a young guy and you're in school, or just getting started, or an older guy and you just maybe don't have a lot of extra money for toys, but you still want a fertilizer buggy, I wanted you to be able to get one at a reasonable price. So that's why I did that. In white, strong, and flexible, like I said, it's about half the price. Now, here's the really cool thing about white, strong, and flexible. I'm just going to take this, and we can do some bending, and I'm applying quite a bit of pressure here. It's very strong and it's flexible. Now, I can break that if I want. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to pretend I can't. But I was easily applying more force there than I was on the piece of Frosted Ultra Detail I showed you. And it didn't break. It didn't snap in half. In fact, it's more likely to warp and bend unless you just really give it a good wrenching with your fingers. So, all right. Now, I just thought, for the fun of it, let's take a look at an implement in white, strong, and flexible. So, you can see, I will say the downside is it doesn't paint as well. You can usually see, here's a great example, and I get the light just right. You can see the center, or whatever they call that, the printing material, how it's just not perfectly still, or whatever. And then I did these shanks as well. Now, I put a ton of detail into these, and if these are printed in Frosted Ultra Detail, which unfortunately I don't have one with me right now, but you can actually see, you will be able to see the spring detail, but not in the white, strong, and flexible, the strong and flexible detail. But, again, half the price. So, the question is, these I try to retail around the $40 to $45 range if somebody wants me to build them one. To do this in Frosted Ultra Detail is about $70 doing the same thing. So, anyway, guys, I guess that's it. That's kind of what I wanted to show you. That's kind of the rub on that. Get your designs together, take them to a service like Shapeways or 3D Hubs or Immaterialize or any of the other ones out there, and then you can print them in the materials you like. Like I said, here in the farm toy world, for now, we're going to use that and FUD, Frosted Ultra Detail, and the white, strong, and flexible. Now, I want to say one thing. I said earlier in the video, I've soured a bit on 3D printing, and that's why. The paint why, the thing I showed you with the wheels, but also the fragility why, because like I said, thankfully Hector is really, well, he's a smart guy. That's the bottom line, and he knows how to design this kit, and he was smart enough to put the extra parts that he thought might break into the kit. But now here's the thing: can you imagine printing this $90 kit and then breaking a handrail, and then you're like, well, that stinks. I guess I'm out $90. So that's just something you got to be aware of. And that's the thing. Like, I always add, and a lot of the really good printers do, add extra parts in. Like, I always add extra shanks in for my field cultivators because you are going to break some. And then the same way in the Frosted Ultra Detail kit of this, I always put in an extra shank or two. In the white, strong, and flexible, it's not a problem. But in FUD it is. So. Okay, guys, that video probably got a little long, and I appreciate you watching. I hope that answered some of your questions, and of course, I hope you got a good look at the the new Dogtown Ag fertilizer box there, fertilizer spreader box, as well as the Krausfield cultivator and that really sweet 8RT kit from Hector there. So, okay, guys, thanks for watching. Please give me a like and share if you think you like what we're doing here. Love it if you'd spread the word. And I'll catch you on the next one.